All right, ladies and gents, it's another Wednesday. It's another 11 a.m. somewhere in the world. We've got great questions today. Bring them on. By the way, if you have questions, send them over. You can send it to us on Instagram, on our gym account, on my personal account. We are Greg's, Greg or Greg's on Instagram, Greg and Greg'sGym.com. My telephone number is everywhere on the internet. Be nice, send a WhatsApp, just ask questions, and we shall answer them.
Hi everyone. So today's first question came through your Instagram account, and it came from one of our traveling circus members who did the tremendous trunk treat template. And there are frame carries in there. And he reported that after doing them, he was feeling quite tense in his traps. So more so in his traps than in his lats. And he was wondering, what is your recommendation how to get the lats to do the major job instead of the traps?
First of all, I tip my hat for doing it. So that's already a really good step. You're probably ahead of 90% of people who just talk about frame carries or farmer carries or whatever the carry was, but they're never going to do them. Or they're going to do them with 12 kilo kettlebells for 6 kilometers and are starting to wonder how they can sustain carrying something for 24 hours in a row. So, all jokes aside, great. This is normal. All right. So let's start with the same stuff we always talk about position and tension. So yes, the end goal for the frame carry or the farmer carry is to feel your lats. Unfortunately, or fortunately, this is not an easy reward like scrolling on social media or doing drugs. This takes longer time to get the reward. So let me walk you through a realistic, whatever, 2, 3 a year frame when you do carries. The first step is, and I'll talk about it in the book extensively, is okay, you have to calm down the smaller muscles. That means your traps while shrugging, and at the end, make the lats work so the traps can relax. Let's go into tension. So the main function of the traps in a carry is what? It's stabilizing. It's not producing, that is producing, right? So going up and down while doing the carries, it is stabilizing. So those babies are exclusively made for just holding stuff, right? In place. Great. So when you have trap soreness, it could be either really bad or really good. What's the difference? Well, look at what you're doing. If you're doing a frame carry and you're just carrying a lot of weight for 20, 40 meters, and your traps are sore the next day and you did not shrug, that's really good.
Mhm.
That is the main function. And your traps are probably sore because they have never been used in the correct way. So soreness could be really good or really bad. I don't like good or bad, but you get the point, right? It always depends on, okay, what's the position you're in, which tension you're using, and what rotation comes out of it. And this is good if you feel them sore the next day when you're not shrugging, doing heavy farmer carries. So that's great. Good. Your body works like this. First, we have to get rid of tension where it's not beneficial, is the best word I can think of. So what does that mean? So your small muscles can relax, the traps can relax, the whatever rotator cuffs can relax, everything that's being used while shrugging can relax once you start actually just relaxing your shoulders and carrying some heavy weight. Once that is the case, good stuff will happen. That means your body will realize, okay, now that you finally understood what this exercise is actually for and what your traps are for and what the position is for, now we can start working in the right direction, which means more and more engagement of the lats. And that process takes, I don't know how much time. This totally depends on you, how knowledgeable you are, how often you're training, how much you're paying attention, etc. Could take 6 weeks, could take 6 years. I don't know. Usually, if you train with us, this is like a couple of months at the most. So once your trap realizes, okay, this is what my job is, this is what my main job is, then the lats can actually do their job. And this is not I don't know, like a fancy unicorn thought. This makes sense from a positional standpoint. Once your shoulders are down, your lats, which are attached right here, actually can start working in their favorite position, which is not being shrugged, because once you shrug, your lat gets elevated, which is not a good concept if you want to actually teach them how to stabilize. So once your shoulder relaxes, once you trap through the work, then your lats can actually start to engage. Start to engage means what? They can start working from top down, right? You won't feel them all the way from the big arm bone down to your hip crease immediately. No, you feel like some soreness like in the top part of it, right? Right around your shoulder blade. Great. 3 months later, it will trickle down, then your mid rib cage, and all of a sudden you're at your lower back. And a couple of months in, you will feel them all the way from top insertion to the bottom insertion, which is at the pelvis. So this is how it actually works, and this is going to take some time, some knowledge, but this is natural to feel sore traps first if you do it right. And at the end, we'd love to have your lats stabilize the hell out of your shoulders.
But would you then say that, or how can you manipulate the weight on the frame in order to get out of that shrugging thing? Because just from a logical standpoint, it would be like, okay, once the weight is too heavy, you can't shrug anymore just because there's like too little real estate to move all that weight. And so, would you recommend then to be like try adding more weight in order to kind of like jumpstart the lats working, or is that kind of like a mistake in my perception?
I love whoever asked that question out there, but I think that person is highly overthinking because it's actually super simple. Um, Use as much weight as you can, and the only deciding factor is can you get it off the floor or not. That's pretty simple, right? So before thinking about okay, how much weight is that, does that make sense? Is it enough? Is it too little? Is it too much? It's super simple. It's the same with a Sempe carry. You can use as much fucking weight as you want if you can pick it off the floor. Chances are, if you cannot get that Sempe
Mhm.
off the floor, you probably shouldn't carry it, right? It's that complicated. Back to the farmer carry or the frame carry. So those things are standing in front of you. If you can't get it off the floor, don't carry it. And trust me, you can because you can't get it off the floor. So what does it mean? If you pick it up super easily, right, and go like 40 meters and 60 meters and you start chatting with people,
Mhm.
chances are it's too light, right? If you're struggling to get it off the floor, but obviously you're paying attention to where your knee is and how to engage your glutes and how to get the thingy off the floor, great. Get it up there and 20, 40 meters max is what we're talking about, right? The perfect weight is when you're starting to struggle at around 20, 25 meters,
Mhm.
right? And you barely make to like 35. If you finish 40 easily, that's not a 40-meter set. That's probably a 60-meter set because you just quit earlier. Because in your head, you were like, I'm going to do 40 meters today. And I'm at 40 meters. I could go further, but I said 40. So I'm going to stop here.
Mhm.
Right. So, yes, weight helps a ton, but it has to be one tension towards the inside. That means stuff you can grab in between your hands. This does not apply to a barbell where the weight is outside of your center of mass. And secondly, is you have to know what you're doing by learning positions that we need in the hips and in the shoulders to actually do that stuff. Carries are actually the best way to teach your body how to deal with a lot of stress because it's probably the second least technical thing you can do
Mhm.
to add weight on your body. It's not zero because you have to get it off the ground somewhat, but it's way less complicated technically than a whatever barbell squat, barbell deadlift, etc. The least technical skill is obviously a sled because you don't have to pick it up. You just have to drag it, push it, or whatever. Use where words using it.
And because you just mentioned technique, would you say in general that there is kind of like an overemphasis on the whole term of proper technique?
Um, yes, I don't know. Because the question is, what does it mean to you? You can use the word technique, but the probably the most my most often used question is, what does that mean? So whenever someone throws buzzwords at me, for example, use better technique or more tension, I immediately reply, what does that mean? I don't know what to do now, right? I don't know what that means if you tell me to have a cleaner technique or more tension in my whatever trunk. I don't know what that means. I don't know what to literally do as a step-by-step process. If you're saying technique and you're going to explain to me, okay, this is where your shoulder blade needs to be, this is the muscle we're searching for, this is what the insertion point is, this is where the other insertion point is. If you're explaining me like that, and I know what to do when I do a pull, shoulder blades stay down, shoulder blades pinch together, my elbows go from the inside to the outside, we're going for the lats, this is where the lats start, this is where the lats are. If that is technique for you, explain to me technique. The way it's most often used is just a buzzword, and I don't like it because it doesn't help people get better fast. And this is all I'm looking for. So, can you explain technique to me so I know what I should be doing? Clear words, clear step-by-step process. Yes, good. If not, I'm not for it.
Okay, I think because I think that oftentimes the whole term of technique is more like from a visual standpoint and like just from a sheer point of observation, I feel like is oftentimes in training with women, for instance, there is a certain kind of hesitancy to, for instance, pick up a very heavy sandbag because there is this, okay, I'm gonna do it wrong. Like because I feel like oftentimes it's like men are way more like, okay, we're gonna try it, and women are way more hesitant and like, okay, but am I properly picking that up or am I doing something wrong?
Okay. I I I I can feel that it is a female question about all the stuff that we're talking about, which is fucking awesome because I think we need way more female coaches out there. So what's bridging the gap between you worrying about if you're doing it right and actually doing it right? The only thing that's going to solve the matter is knowledge. So that means if I'm teaching you, I'm going to give you a very practical example. So the way technique is explained, let's say in a stand back pickup to go for a carry, right?
Mhm.
Version A is, all right, pick it up and keep your back straight and try to get tension in your trunk.
Mhm.
That's version A. And I'm going to offer you version B now. And let's see how that comes down, in that case, the female mindset. Um, okay, this is what I want you to do. I want you to put your hands as far underneath the bag as you can. Squeeze it tight. That means you're going to have to feel your pecs before you lift off, right? So I'm not just saying put your hands underneath it. I want you to know that this muscle needs to turn on. And what happens for you now is if you feel that muscle with your hands underneath the bag, it's like, okay, I'm good. Step
Mhm.
number one. Step number two is, all right, I want you, whatever position you're in while you're down there and hugging the sandbag to pick it up, I want you to bring your knees behind your ankles. All right. This is going to set your hip and your glute max perfectly up to pick it off the floor. All right. That's step number two. So I can see that. I myself can see that. I can look at my knees and be like, okay, where are my knees now? Okay, my knees are over my ankles. Great. So I have to shoot my knees back. Great. Okay, so my pecs are on, my knees are over the heels. Great. Okay, third step, and this is the last step. Trust me. Whatever happens on the pickup, the only thing you cannot do is shoot your knees forward. Okay, that I can see. So my pecs are on, my knees are above or behind my ankles. So once I start to lift off, and I can either feel my knees shooting forward, or I can see them. Okay, this is where I drop the sandbag, right? But if that's not happening, that means I can just continue and don't have to worry about, okay, do I have Is my straight? Is my back straight? Are my obliques on? What is my neck doing? What about my
Mm.
all that stuff, right? So this is about there's 20,000 things you should or you could think of, but I want you to think of three. And if you nail those three, if you focus on those three, you're good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That also works for male coaches, by the way.